All right, everyone, welcome to Saturday Q&A. This is Season 2. I'm the host, Frederick Jones, publisher of my footprint, which includes several brands. Saturday AM, which is our flagship. It's the digital manga magazine anthology of record on the internet. It comes out every 2 weeks. We're actually on our hiatus for the remainder of 2014, heading into 2015. We also have Afternoon WebX, which is a line that we do dedicated to exclusive webcomics, really fun and dynamic webcomics. We have an ebook line called Well Read, and we debuted today our latest vehicle, our latest venture, which is called Saturday Plus. It's actually debuting officially during this, hopefully during this podcast, if not a little bit later, but it will be today before midnight, and it will be available for our subscribers first of Saturday AM, and then sometime in the future it'll be available for everyone else who would love to check out some of the hottest new manga webcomic talent online. We've got a great episode planned today. We're going to be talking about the genesis of Saturday Plus, talking about geek culture today and kind of some of the things that have led to the creation of Saturday AM as well as Saturday Plus, and then a hint of some of our plans for 2015. There's also going to be news about an exclusive contest where you could win a copy of Apple Black Volume 1. It's the debut of our Saturday Tanks. So if you're interested in one of the hottest manga webcomics on the market today, White Manga's Apple Black Volume 1, if you want a free copy of that, we're going to give you an exclusive contest today that you can follow and have a chance to enter to win a free copy of that in print and signed by the creator of White Manga. So definitely should be something you want to check out. So give us a ring, please. Make sure you check out this episode. If you've got friends that you think will be liking this episode, have them come and check in on it live as well. We do this every Saturday. It's called Saturday Q&A, and it's where we have a chance to talk about all things manga and webcomics and digital geek culture. And tonight we're going to be joined by a couple of creators who are associated with our newest project, which is called Saturday Plus. So again, thanks for joining us. As usual, if this is your first time, you can ask questions to us. It's kind of like a Reddit Q&A or AMA. You can ask questions to us immediately via either our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM, just one word. And you can post a question there. You can do it if you have the app for Google Plus, which would basically be the Hangout app, and you can access the Q&A function. Or you can just use the classic chat function that's usually in your Google Mail, and you can just post a question or comment there. Again, we're pretty open. We're having some fantastic conversations about everything in geek culture. Big news this week with Star Wars and some other things are going to be happening within the world of Marvel and DC. So really exciting stuff going on, as well as Attack on Titan. So really exciting stuff happening. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well as Saturday Plus. So right now I'd like to welcome our guest, which is Justin. And Justin, I know, do I butcher your name when I say it, or do I say it correctly?
Anina Sean.
Wait, say it again?
Nina Sean.
Nina Sean. Okay, I will now nab it. I will claim the correct way to say it for the future. Nina Sean. And so for those of you who don't know, Justin is one of our, someone that we're extremely excited about. Justin is one of our young creators who actually went through a platform that we offer where we have a chance to interact with up-and-coming webcomic talent who maybe never produced a webcomic before, but they have the desire and they have the skills and they're really looking to kind of become a part of the community and learn some of the tricks of the trade and so forth. And Justin entered our very first competition that we offered through that group. The group is called Pilot Manga, and the competition that we have is called Test Flight. And so Justin actually entered the very first test flight that we had. He came in second, and we are very pleased by the fact that Justin's work, Gray Zone, will actually be debuting later today inside of our brand new manga publication called Saturday Plus. So we're really excited about having Justin here on the call. Looks like Leonardo Massive just joined us as well. He is also a graduate, if you will, of our Pilot Manga program He also came in second, and he has a fantastic work called Islanders. So we'll be talking to Leonardo here in a little bit, but you may have listened to Leonardo last week in our call. But let's first start off with actually with Justin and Leo. We're expecting some more guests as well. But let's start off first. Let's do a little bit differently than what we normally do in these Q&As, and let's talk, because I've talked to both of you guys before. So people, if they want to listen to a more specific conversation about you and your background, they can go to check those previous episodes of Saturday Q&A on our YouTube channel. But for right now, though, what I'd like to do is let's have a conversation about some geek news that's happened, and I'd like to get your impressions of some of the stuff that has happened in the last week. Let's first start off with Star Wars, which of course is the big thing to talk about. They finally debuted their trailer. I was excited about this for a number of reasons, for frankly, a lot of them being the fact I'm a lot older than you guys, so it was nostalgia for me. It was a bit of commercialism where I was really kind of studying it because of how Disney is pulling this whole Star Wars franchise together. I looked at it from a lot of different angles, but I found myself really excited about it on all levels, and so but I also had some questions, and so I'm curious to get the impression of what you guys thought. Let's start with you first, Justin. What did you think when you saw the trailer for Star Wars?
Well, the first thing I thought of this when I saw this trailer of Star Wars is that, oh my god, a person just randomly popped in out of nowhere.
At the very beginning of the trailer, when
that kind of scared me and a whole bunch of other friends.
It pops out. Yeah.
Other than that, it left me with a whole bunch of questions. I don't really know what the story's about. I'm hoping that it's gonna be a continuation of Luke Skywalker's story, because later on, I know after what happened in the whole Star Wars trilogy, Luke becomes a total badass.
Right. I can definitely answer some of those. That's something I can answer. So that's certainly something I can answer, because that information is out there. Before we go to that, Leo, did you see the trailer? What were your thoughts on it?
No, man, I haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness!
All right, Leo, stay in mute. I'm gonna send you a link to the trailer.
Absolutely, yes. Send that man a link to the trailer, and make sure you mute your mic when you watch it, Leo. And Leo, when your mind is blown by all the visual excitement of it, take a moment, maybe have a sip of wine, and then come back and communicate, because your mind, you may talk gibberish when you see it, because it's so overwhelming. So Justin, yes, it does involve. This is a continuation of the story of Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and Han Solo. All the actors are cast in it, so they're actually in it. They filmed. In fact, the filming had been halted for a number of months because we learned that, which I don't know if this is when we learned about it, but if you've been following the news, you had heard that the Millennium Falcon was in it, because one of the scenes involves Han Solo walking through the Millennium Falcon. A door closes, and you how those little doors kind of open and close automatically on the ships and stuff. And anyway, something malfunctioned, and it fell on his foot, and it actually broke his foot. So they actually had to suspend filming because of that. So that's at least when I first learned that Millennium Falcon was actually going to be in the movie. I knew that Han Solo and Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill were cast in the movie. So this is a big movie. It picks up with. Now, the question mark is whether or not it involves the children of Luke, not Luke, well, of Luke maybe. We don't know if Luke had any children. Certainly of Han and Leia, who in the books that were at the time the official continuation of the story, which, as I understand it, they're no longer canon. They will not be considered official context for this film. The film will be making its own mythology based off of the first couple of movies. So whether or not Luke has children or Han and Leia have children, we'll find that out, when the story picks up.
Man, I just hope it doesn't suck.
Same here, exactly. You see, for my generation, like I said, I grew up watching the original trilogy. It was such a powerful, imprint on kids who grew up in the 70s and 80s, because there was just nothing else like it. And if you were in the comic books, if you were in the superheroes and stuff, there was nothing like that around. So that was what you had to really get excited about, and it did it fantastically. So that holds a special place for kids who grew up before we had the sort of technology and movies that we have today. But then the prequel movies came out, and your generation kind of found out about, or at least experienced Star Wars specifically through that. And those
my generation, not my generation, just me.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first space movie was Star Wars Episode 1.
Mm.
I do remember watching the original trilogy, but I was a dumb kid and I actually thought that came in after the prequels.
Right.
So after I saw those, after I saw those, I'm just like, what the heck is Episode 4, 5, and 6? Because my parents were watching that in their room.
Right.
And then once they were done watching it, I was watching it, and I also thought it was amazing, but I didn't really knew the difference between like movie quality.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand. It's it's one of those things. It's like I said, it's very powerful for what it was. But the prequels, the films that came out later, just had Natalie Portman in them. They looked great in terms of what they could show, but it just went to show how much heart there was in the original trilogy. So we'll see. We'll see what this new trilogy looks like. I'm excited for it. A couple of things that did kind of bother me with it. If it was not seeing John Boyega at the start of the movie, at the trailer, that's actually a callback to the way the original Star Wars movies were. They used to let things kind of linger on certain perspectives and stuff like that, and then they would shock you with something. It's kind of the old school Steven Spielberg route as well. So, and J.J. Abrams, who's directing the Star Wars movies now, he's a big, he grew up watching Steven Spielberg movies, so this is all very familiar stuff. It may have been new for you, but it was very familiar for me. But on the other hand, what did bother me though is that if this does take place, several decades later, and look, let's face facts, it has to, right? Because Harrison Ford does not look like Harrison Ford did when the film series ended, right? He's now 77 years old. He's an old man. He does not look like Harrison Ford back then. So they can't just claim, well, this takes place 10 years later. Like, there's no way. This takes place decades later, right? I mean, all of them look older. So once you accept that, if that's the case, then I was really surprised, like when they show the X-Wing. First of all, the X-Wing fighters and the Millennium Falcon, which you can get away with the Millennium Falcon because it's such an iconic vehicle, but the X-Wing fighters, the TIE fighters, the Oscar Isaacs, who's one of the actors who's in this. He's the guy who you see wearing the spacesuit, and then the X-Wing fighters come out over the water. Like, that really stunned me because it was like, wow, there's no technological upgrades between then and now. Between the first Star Wars trilogy and now these new movies which take place after those films. Like, how do the X-Wing fighters and the costumes and stuff still look the same? Why are there stormtroopers? Like, I'm curious to see where they go with that.
It's probably not going to take decades. It's not probably going to be placed in decades later. They're probably just going to say they're probably going to be like, oh, it's only been a few years, even though they look super old.
I was going to say that's going to be odd then for people to see because the characters are definitely older, and the girl who's on the speeder bike, that you see in the trailer, is rumored to be Harrison Ford's daughter. So, not Harrison Ford, but Han Solo and Leia's daughter. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm very surprised at some of the stuff that I saw.
That speed bike looks funny.
It looks like a block. It looks like something you see in a video game.
It looks like an homage to that to those oversized thingies. I can't remember what they're called. They had those little guys that would sell stuff.
What,
in episode 4.
Oh yes. I know you're talking about. Yeah. Yes, that's a good memory. Yes. Well, so that was The Force Awakens, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what comes of it. I'm excited at the possibilities, I guess, but but I am very surprised. I'm just very surprised with it. I was, the idea that was the idea that was going to be some of the images, that those were some of the images. I think that was surprising. So anyways, that's go ahead.
Before we end the Force Unleashed thingy, I really want to point this out. That lightsaber longsword, it looks really impractical.
Well, you're right. Well, then that was the other thing, right? It's like, like there were several little moments. Like I said, there's a lot that just to me was different, right? Like, so you had that moment where they did that, right? Where they start off and they show you. It was like I said, I'm looking at it as an old man and as an old guy myself, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what are all the things that represent Star Wars? And it was like a checklist, and it was check, check, check. So X-wing TIE fighters, check. Guy in an orange jumpsuit, check. Some sort of speeder bike, check. Tatooine, or like a desert planet, which is where the film looks like it starts at, check. I mean, it's like stormtroopers, check. Droids, check. Which was a weird droid too, rolling around on a ball. So it was a lot of little things. It was like they literally were like, okay, check, check. And then you get to this lightsaber battle, and you're like, okay, well, I know there's gonna be some lightsabers, or not battle, but lightsaber use. You know there's gonna be lightsabers, and then then it fires. It comes out, and it's like, that's the invention. Like, I expected like something like maybe an axe, an energy axe, or an energy whip, or an energy ball, something.
I was actually hoping for just a regular lightsaber, but like when it's impractical, I don't understand how this could work. I can see it more hurting your wrist than anything.
Well, I assume. Well, fair enough, fair point, exactly. I mean, when you look at it, the visual that you get is something more like a scabbard. Like a sword, a traditional sword. It's got the little, hilt and scabbard to it. So, that's, like I said, I remember when the second trilogy came out, and the first trailer hit, and there was all this anticipation. It had been 20-some years, and there was all this anticipation, and then at the very end, you see Darth Maul, and he fires a lightsaber, and then a couple seconds later, the other part of the lightsaber opens up, and you're like, oh wow, it's a two-sided lightsaber. Like, that was cool, because that was something that was a new use of the lightsabers. This is just kind of like you said, it's a little impractical, and it's just kind of like like at this point we've seen lightsabers. Like I was expecting to see something a bit more dramatic, but it's all good.
Well, if they go too far with it's a design thing. If you go too far with what people are used to, you alienate them, and then they start complaining.
Very true, Justin. All right, so I think we've had enough time with Star Wars. Before we go, though, I think we need to ask Mr. Massif if he's had a chance to see the video. Has he collected himself, and is he able to speak on it?
Not yet, man.
You haven't seen it yet.
The thing.
I'm sorry, I got too many kids.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
No, but I definitely will. I will, and I'll put my input in the Facebook later on, because I haven't seen it though. I just scroll it down for some reason. I've never been a big fan of it though. But
well, that's fair. That's a fair point. Star Wars isn't for everybody, but I will say that you, Leo Massif, are no Ray Brown. Because Raymond Brown, when I do these types of talks with Raymond, we have our little geek moments with some of the Saturday M founders. We have our little geek moments where if Ray's kids aren't in the background screaming, Ray will be like, like his kids love Teenage Mutant Turtles. Like all I have to do is say, yeah, well, the Star Wars, but it's got the turtles in it, and the kids love it. He can actually watch them film. Your kids aren't turtle fans, I take it, Leo?
what exactly? What?
Turtles, Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, the ninja. No, he likes Power Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah, Power Rangers, and he's getting into freaking the Avengers.
Hey, well, the Avengers is cool. We actually have a question about the Avengers, so we're gonna go to that one. We'll go to that one actually in a minute. I want to go to a second place now after this, and that is let's now talk about the next little geekness I want to talk about is Attack on Titan. And so,
that's
I'm curious.
My show. That's my show.
All right, so Leo, so we can count on you, Leo, to talk about this.
Oh yes.
All right, so let's talk about Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan, of course, that has really exploded manga and anime in the last 3 years. It is in my lifetime, it is probably one of the most it's probably the most explosive manga anime that I've seen in terms of its ability to galvanize interest from people who are not manga and anime fans. You know, Dragon Ball Z was obviously a watermark in the world of anime and manga. So is Sailor Moon. So is Pokemon, which of course is not really anime manga. And of course, when I was a kid, Gundam was a big deal of that, but it was more so in Japan, and it had kind of a small niche thing in America. But it also helped America become to really respect manga and anime in a particular way. But I think Attack on Titan, though, just blows them all out of the water because it is truly a work that that seems to really fit today's generations around the world. You know, people who, you know, Hollywood is so powerful thanks to the internet and stuff. There's so many things happening in the world today where, you know, like Avengers is a big deal, and kids in Russia know who the Avengers are, and, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, like we live in such a hyper-connected world now to where anime and manga still has a problem connecting for all the reasons that I've talked about in terms of why I started Saturday AM. They don't do a good job. Unfortunately, the mangaka do not do a good job of creating characters that that look like the world. You know, they try to create these worlds where only Asian people exist, or Asian people who look like white people. But still, Attack on Titan is huge. It is, you know, it is the Walking Dead of manga and anime, and so, you know, with all that being said, you know, it is such a phenomenon that, of course, they've got a movie coming out, and I don't know if you guys have seen the some of the stuff on the new movie that's coming, but they do have a feature film coming. They actually have cast it. They're actually filming it, and so they actually, you know, it's you know, it's a real thing, and so I'm actually posting an image here of one of the character posters from the film. But so that's the big news I want to talk about, was that Attack on Titan had a couple of big things that were announced. One, Season 2 comes back in 2016 of the anime. The manga is the most popular manga officially in the world in terms of sales, you know, for the calendar year.
And One Piece's sales.
It is overtaken One Piece in terms of calendar year, not lifetime to date.
Yeah, I know. Lifetime One Piece just beats everything.
Yeah. One Piece is still the king by far. But so, you know, with all that being said, you know, Attack on Titan is legitimately the, you know, a phenomenon, and so and like I said, with the feature film, I wanted to show that here. I'm trying to screen share it, but I'm running into a bit of problems. So let me see if I can screen share it here. So have you guys heard about the anime sequel coming out?
Yep.
Okay, so you have heard about that?
Yeah, but I'm not really as hyped up as I should be. I don't know. It's just to me.
So are you a fan?
I really want to watch it, but I don't really have the drive to watch anything at the moment.
Well, so are you a fan? I mean, I don't understand.
I'm a fan of Attack on Titan.
You're not?
I said I am. I'm just not a really big one.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Leo, you said you are a fan, right?
I'm a fan of it. I would not be cosplaying and all that, but yes, I'm a fan. I watched the whole TV show like twice.
Yeah, you cosplay, Leo. Let's not try to be cool for the cameras, Leonardo.
Dude, have you seen this year? I mean, this generation nowadays, you're not cool if you don't cosplay. Jeez.
That's true. That's true. So Leo, so are you excited for season 2? Like, did you watch the anime, the first season of the anime?
Yeah, actually twice, and I enjoy everything the second time. I felt like I was watching it for the first time. It's so good. I mean, it's like a cliffhanger all the time. All the time you be like wondering what the hell's going to happen next. And you know, it's really amazing. And I think people are getting into the manga a lot more because they're taking a lot of time to come up with a season 2, and that's why they're selling a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I mean, I've actually, so I subscribe to Crunchyroll. I subscribe to their manga line, and I do actually enjoy the manga. It's not the best artwork. In fact, the artwork is crass at times. It's not that attractive, but I do read the manga. I think the manga is very well done, and I don't know if it's that because the manga takes a while to produce, and so I think in anime traditionally because they adapt manga, that's a testament to people like Oda and Kishimoto, who produce One Piece and Naruto respectively, to how much content they produce on a weekly basis, so that they can produce so much content on a monthly and quarterly and yearly basis, so that there's plenty of stuff to adapt into anime consistently. But when you don't produce work that prodigiously, then it becomes very difficult to adapt it to anime. And so Attack on Titan is one of those situations where the work is developed a little slower than Naruto or One Piece is, and as a result, it takes a while to build up enough of a story to adapt into anime. So 2016 is a long wait, but one thing I will say is that the production quality on the anime is great. So as long as they maintain that, I can't imagine why people won't be excited for the sequel. So it's going to be very exciting to see Attack on Titan. And if you guys see the screen share that I'm presenting, if you guys can see that, and you'll see then that it's got a picture there of Mikasa Ackerman, who is played by a Japanese actress. I can't read her name, but the thing that caught me about Attack on Titan, the movies, and there hasn't been a trailer for it yet, but again, it's real, it's filming. In fact, it's been filming for quite a while. They have a series of character posters, and the character posters look really, really good. Of course, the one thing that you notice when you look at them is how none of the actors who are supposed to be not Asian are played by non-Asians. They're all played by traditional-looking Japanese actors. So they have, Asian features, they have black hair. And so what I found fascinating about that was the fact that, and in some cases, by the way, they changed the names, because again, they got like maybe 14 character posters, and some of the characters you'll recognize. Some of the characters you'll be like, who the hell is that? You're like, wait a minute, that's Aaron or that's Armin? Like, they look nothing like Aaron and Armin. And so I just, so the reason I want to bring this up is that, I just thought it was interesting that happened, that the Japanese movie studio that just produced the film thought to do that, because again, it's like, on multiple levels, I find it kind of odd, because first of all, that right there essentially kills the ability for this film to actually be, American hit, right? If one of the jokes I tell our creators of Saturday AM and WebX is that, I take diversity so seriously, mostly because, I think just as a person of color myself, that we should all strive to try to create works that look like the real world. But I also do it from a business standpoint. I say that, if you're creating a work that's going to be a breakout hit, you can forget the notion that work will get adapted into a movie and be cast by anybody. But like if you got three main characters, like if Naruto is made into a movie tomorrow, Naruto will be played by a blue-eyed, blonde-haired kid from like One Direction or Backstreet Boys or something like that. And then you'd have the girl would be maybe Latino or something like that. And then Sasuke most likely would be some hip hop kid. Not Lil Wayne, but somebody, because they know that's guaranteed to get them tickets. They know that's guaranteed to sell tickets in box office, and I find it hilarious. It's like because when you know that's what's going to happen, then it's like it's like then why would you not build something that you can actually control and have it look like the world that it reflects? And so I just thought it was interesting because I saw it and I'm like, wow, like that's an entirely Japanese cast for a book, by the way, where they. But see, that's my point, though. Like that's very bizarre. I mean, Japan does not exist in isolation. I mean, I've been to Japan. It doesn't exist in isolation. There are black people who live there. There are Latino people who live there. There are Russians. There are Koreans. There are lots of different ethnic groups who live in Japan. I mean, Japan is not a monolithic society. India is not a monolithic society. So I think that's kind of odd. Again, it's the studio's choice to do that, but. Like I said, the first thing that happens is that when you see it and you go, wait a minute, that does not look like Armin. Armin looks like a girl, first of all, and he's got blonde hair. You're like, wow, that doesn't look like Armin. So it's just bizarre, that's all. So I didn't know if you guys have seen that and what you guys thought of that.
Dude, the people that are working on it, I think, is Toho.
Possibly, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm just sharing one image, but again, if you search on the internet for the Attack on Titan film, live-action movie, you may get the car commercial. I think it was done by Toyota, but that was just a commercial. You will see it's 14 character posters that exist, and it's mostly of the group who who fight the Titans. No Titans are featured in anything I've seen produced so far. So that's going to be probably their Jurassic Park thing, where they're waiting to hold that until the movie comes out. So they're trying to keep that under wraps. But the soldiers, Mikasa and Aaron and Armin, and I didn't see Levy, for example. So I don't know how much of the film covers in terms of time and stuff, because Levy's not in there either. And then you see a lot of characters. Some characters you recognize because, like, the one girl who's kind of crazy, who's in the group, who like fought, she's always got like lots of weapons and stuff like that. She's in there. You recognize her immediately just because of the way they filmed the picture. But then there's other characters who I don't even know who they are. They've got Japanese names, so I don't even know who they are. Which again is interesting because in the manga they make a point of saying that Mikasa is the last Asian, so half Asian. So it's very interesting. I think I just think it's interesting to see that. Again, I don't quite know how I feel about it, but again, it's one reason why the stuff that we do at Saturday M is diverse from the very beginning, because we want to try to create a world that has a lot of unique elements to it that people can see themselves in. So any additional questions on Attack on Titan?
Not really, as I can think of.
All right, Leo.
No, I'm good.
Where'd David Johnson go? He was here a second ago.
He was there a second ago. Yeah, he popped off before.
By the way, I saw all the pictures of all the cast members,
okay,
and it looked pretty awesome though. They try to implement the Asian culture because I saw people with bows and all that in the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like I said, there's definitely something there that they've got there. So it's interesting. I mean, that's all I can say. Like I said, we'll see how well it does and stuff like that. I'm always kind of like, again, we produce our content. We have a very Western focus with our content, even though a lot of our creators from all over the world. We keep it Western because that works. It's like, I mean, Game of Thrones is produced, in America. It's filmed in Europe, produced in America, and it's pirated around the world. Walking Dead, produced in America, pirated around the world. I mean, it's like that sort of content is. Americans really know how to tell content, and I'm very much a part of that. So I try to maintain that focus with the way that we direct a lot of our talent. That being said, when I think of foreign countries, I always think of myself like there's a it's like in other words, you wouldn't coming from the tech world, you wouldn't build something tech oriented and say, well, I'm going to make this just Japanese. Like, you wouldn't do that. You would try to make it be something that's going to work around the world. So. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about it right now, but I'm curious to see if they'll have success, because we both know that, or I think all of us can admit that there's really not going to be an Attack on Titan movie, quote unquote, really, until Hollywood does it. I don't believe for a second that this film will be like the film that people will talk about when they talk about Attack on Titan. So, we'll see if that's the case. Maybe this film will come out and be a blockbuster and be huge everywhere it plays around the world. But I don't know. We'll see.
Give it to Spielberg.
I mean, look, Michael Bay, Spielberg. You can best believe that if Hollywood gets a hold of it, that changes the game right there. And of course, will change the game because it will not look like the way the manga looks, the anime looks, or this movie looks. Let's move on. We have a question comment from Rio Shahal in our Q&A function. And again, everybody, if you want to pose questions to us, again. We're going to be talking about manga and anime, so specifically about the work that we're producing, including the book that we'll be debuting later tonight called Saturday Plus. So if you'd like to talk about those things, you can drop us a question on our Facebook fan page. You can also do so via the Q&A app here in the Google Chrome browser or Google Hangouts app. Or you can also use the Google Talk function, which is part of your Gmail. So any way you want to access it, feel free to shoot us a question, and we'll answer it live on air, and it can be anything regarding techniques to art, webcomic industry, how you make money at this, or what our favorite video games, anime, manga, music is. So have at it. Rio Shahal asks, any insights on the new Marvel movies scheduled for the upcoming years? So I think Rio's talking about that gigantic announcement that came out that features several films that culminates in Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. Are you guys familiar with the announcement, and what did you guys think of it? Let's start with you first, Leo.
Which one? Which one? Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now. Which one?
I fully expect someone to write in like worst co-host ever. But no, the Marvel movies that were just announced.
Okay.
We have. So if you don't know, I'll tell you the list real quickly. So obviously, we just finished up having seen Guardians of the Galaxy. The next film to come out is going to be Avengers: Age of Ultron. Everybody knows that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so after that, we then go to Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Then there's Doctor Strange, followed by Thor: Ragnarok, or maybe it's Captain America: Thor: Ragnarok. But either way, Thor: Ragnarok is a sequel to Thor. Captain America: Captain America: Civil War. Captain America: Civil War, which is a storyline about Captain America versus Iron Man.
Why is it called Captain America then?
Because they're putting it in the Captain America cinematic aspect of it. But Tony Stark is going to be in it. There's going to be several other Avengers in it, including there'll be the first full appearance of Black Panther. Doctor Strange is coming. Captain Marvel is coming, which is the Carol Danvers version. Black Panther's getting his own movie. The Inhumans are getting their own movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is coming out, and then it all culminates with Avengers: The Infinity War, which is broken up. First of all, it's going to be two movies. It's going to be Part 1, which comes out May 2018, and then the Part 2 final version comes out in May 2019. And so they had a lot of footage that they showed at the event. You can find it on YouTube, including a really fantastic trailer for Avengers: Infinity War. They had also a fantastic scene from Avengers: Age of Ultron where Captain America and Tony Stark you're seeing them argue with each other kind of, and you can see already what's going to happen for Captain America versus Iron Man in Civil War. So it's a really good scene. But yes, it was really great. I thought it was a great announcement. I was proud of Marvel for what they're doing with film. I was proud of the places they're trying to push into with announcing stuff like Inhumans and Captain Marvel. So I think Rio's question is, what insights did you guys have about that? Obviously, Leo, you may not have known about it, but let's just start off with you, Leo, in the sense of, do you like the Marvel movies? What do you think of the Marvel movies right now?
Oh, they're pretty awesome, though, especially the Avengers. I was really excited. I loved the movie, the concept. Captain America, the first movie, I didn't like much, but the second one was really, really good. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, those are my two favorite movies, Avengers and Winter Soldier. Of all the Marvel movies, those two, I can just watch those over and over again. Those are such good movies, really, really good movies. What about you, Justin?
What was the question again?
Any insights on the new Marvel movies?
I cannot wait for Civil War and for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, so you like Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes. And I can't wait for Civil War because I love the story.
Yeah, well, so obviously the question will be whether or not the story will be similar to the comic books, which I don't really know how it can be. I mean, other than the fact that there's a registration process. But because Captain America, Spider-Man's not going to be in it, and you're not going to have some of the other characters who've not been announced yet, so who haven't appeared in the cinematic world yet. So
I forgot about that.
So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but clearly there'll be a conflict. Ultron's a good example. Age of Ultron, in the comic books, that was created by Hank Pym, who was the original Ant-Man character. But because he does not exist, at least right now, we're not familiar with him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They made Tony Stark be the creator of Ultron. So that's a complete deviation from the comics, but it's a cool sort of aspect that fits that world they're building. So Civil War, might try and be very cool, even though it won't necessarily be the Civil War that you're a fan of, or that I remember reading. So all right, so that is so Rio. That's some of the thoughts there. What I'll say a bit more. What I'll say also is that I grew up and still remain a gigantic DC fan. I mean, I'm actually not a Marvel comic book fan at all, but I am such a fan of Marvel Studios right now. I'm a fan from a business standpoint. I absolutely am a huge admirer of Bob Iger, who's the head of Disney, Kevin Feige, and I think his name is Paul Allen. That's not Paul Allen. It's something Allen. Alan Fine, I think maybe. He's the president of Marvel Studios. But a big fan of all those guys. What they have done just from a business standpoint in creating these films and staying true to the roots of the geek comic book fan and not getting overtaken by Hollywood and by actors, which is what I think DC and Warner Brothers did. You know, like Batman movies by Christopher Nolan, it's more about Christopher Nolan than it is about Batman. And with Marvel, it's about the Marvel superheroes more so than it is about the actors or than about the producers or directors. And I think that's the way it should be. So I'm a big fan of what Marvel's doing. I wish them all the luck, and I can't wait to see these new movies coming out. Even though I'm not really a fan of any of the characters. I mean, I could have cared less about Iron Man growing up. I thought Captain America was one of the lamest superheroes I'd ever seen. Thor I thought was silly. I mean, I just literally thought all the superheroes were horrible. And then the fact that DC, for some reason, DC, you know, on this whole diversity thing, like DC never had much diversity over Marvel. But at the same time, the Marvel just seemed to have like no diversity. Like the diversity was so cheesy. And now like Marvel's killing it on diversity. You know, they're doing a really good job with diversity. Not so much in their movies, but in their comics. So I hats off to Marvel. I think Marvel is a hell of a company. I'm really proud of what they're doing as a comic book fan, and I wish them a lot of luck. You know, so that's that. So all right. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the Facebook and or Google chat application, which you can do so via Hangouts, the Q&A app, which will be in your Google browser or your Chrome browser, or your Chrome OS, which you have the Hangouts installed, or you can just go into your normal Gmail, access what we're talking, and you can post a comment in the Google Talk section. But what I'd like to do now is let's talk a bit about the reason we're doing this Saturday Q&A this evening, which is in regards to our brand new manga publication, which comes out later tonight, and features two young men, features a couple of people, but the two young men who are actually on this call, and it is the manga anthology called Saturday Plus. And so for those of you who are not familiar with us, as I said before, my name is Frederick Jones, and I am the host of this, but I'm also the publisher and founder of My Footprint. And it is a line dedicated towards original creations, entertainment creations, pop culture, intellectual properties from creators all around the world. As you've heard me say throughout this podcast, I'm a big fan of diversity. I am diverse myself, and so I really wanted to create a facility where that could flow and come from voices that are fresh and new. And these two men that we have on the call tonight reflect that more than anything. You've got Leonardo Massip, who is a Cuban expatriate now living in America, who is the creator of a work that we actually published initially last issue of our regular flagship publication called Saturday AM. And joining us tonight is also Justin.
Hey, Sean.
Damn it! Say what more time.
Justin. Just say Justin.
Justin A. I'm gonna start calling you Justin A. But you said it. I had it, and then it flipped that on. But Justin is the creator of a work that we're also very, very excited about called Gray Zone. Those two properties will be running inside of a brand new publication that we have that will be free for our subscribers and free for other readers. And it's going to debut later tonight for our subscribers. It is a manga anthology called Saturday Plus, and it features Gray Zone by Justin, Islanders by Leonardo Massip, and Comet Man by Frederick Ward, who cannot join us tonight. It will also soon have another title joining it called DD Dragoon, which is from another talented creator who can't join us at this moment called David Artbook Johnson. And what these titles all represent is brand new creators, people that have not posted or produced content on any other webcomic site before, exclusively producing original ideas that have really strong merit and ideas behind them. This is a real jump for just fresh new ideas. They're not deviations off of Naruto or Dragon Ball Z. These are truly unique ideas, and we are really excited to have the opportunity to bring the sort of attention and a sort of presentation that we do with our stuff to this group of new creators. And we're going to be having newer creators that come on in the subsequent issues. So this is really a platform, Saturday Plus, just like in Japan, where you have titles like Akamaru Jump or Jump Live, where they try to focus on new or niche creators. This is really what Saturday Plus was designed to do, and so we are really, really excited about what that represents. And so, first and foremost, again, we have Justin here, and Justin, let's start with you a little bit. Let's talk a bit about Gray Zone. Now, for people who don't know, you created Gray Zone initially as a submission within our Pilot Manga group, which is our exclusive amateur community where a lot of people who want to learn about or want to communicate about creating webcomics can come together and kind of just, chat and have fun and get to know one another, share techniques. You joined that group back when we launched it in July, or late June, early July. And then we had our first test flight, which is basically a competition where you basically get to share your ideas in a professional context, and we choose it. And your property, Gray Zone, came in second. So could you tell everybody a bit about what Gray Zone is?
Well, it's about... Well, the story has been changed around a lot lately, without time. But it's mostly about a group of people just going around the land of the dead, trying to find a way back to the land of the living.
Okay.
And the land of the dead is also known as the Gray Zone.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. So part of the fun thing there is that Gray Zone, which is a great name. It's a great logo too. I mean, not to toot our horn a bit, but it's a great logo that exists for Gray Zone. But also some fantastic character design. Everybody, I've got the cover posted there. You can see the cover for Saturday Plus, which again will be debuting later tonight if you are a subscriber. But so when you created Gray Zone, what was the impetus to create Gray Zone? I'm actually kind of curious as to what led you to create Gray Zone aside from the competition. What was the deal there?
Oh, with the competition, I created the idea a while back before the competition. It was. I think I had the idea a while back, for years, but I never really put it into into serious thought until the Shonen Jump competition, the whole one-shot thing.
Right.
And I was a daring idiot telling myself I want to do a 45-page one-shot at the time. I only had a month because my friend told me about this a month before it ended. Mm-hmm. And I just I need an idea really quick, and I used that idea. And I just pulled out whatever character concept I could think of, and I just created a 45-page one-shot. Didn't get to finish it because I got to the screen tone and lettering stage an hour before the deadline.
So you produced it. So you like a lot of our creators. I mean, this is not a new thing. Like a lot of our creators, you produced the concept, for the competition, kind of pulling stuff together that kind of interested you, and then just kind of threw it together. You had more stuff you wanted to kind of do, but you kind of ran out of time. So you kind of cobbled together some stuff and submitted it, right?
Yeah, it's not really much of a compilation. I gave myself at least 2 weeks to come up with the entire thing. I did nothing but that, but it wasn't. Overall, the whole thing killed me in a way. I didn't have enough time. I ran out. I lost kind of most of the concept I originally had. I still had the main character concept and everything, but when I submitted that to the the test flight, it was still kind of a mess. Yeah. Not nearly as much as not. It's a little bit worse than what it could have been if I still had all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. It's also when I started switching into digital. I submitted that when I was still getting used to digital stuff, and I was still very bad at it. I felt very after getting used to digital art, I felt really bad that I submitted that.
Well, I mean, so here's what's fascinating about that. So you came in second. That was the month that Philippa Borman, who's a young lady from the United Kingdom, who entered. She had a fantastic concept called Animale, and it was about a giraffe who enters a competition to become king of the beasts. So it's kind of WWE meets Lion King, and it was.
I like to think of it as Madagascar.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many things you could kind of compare it to, but it's unlike anything else out there. I mean, you can compare it to things just to kind of give a frame of reference. But we loved it because it was so original, so fresh. And your property, you know, was very close. It made us think a lot about which property was a better one. What has been interesting to see, I mean, we ran a couple of chapters of Animale, and for those of you who've not seen Animale, we will be putting Animale inside of Saturday Plus in the near future. The chapters, the content that's been produced to date. Philippa was in school or started school during a period, so she could not continue with it until the summer. But we're very excited. We stay in touch with Philippa. We're very excited about what she'll be doing with Animale. But you know, what was fascinating with your stuff is that your work, there were glimpses of what you could do in your submission for the pilot manga, for the test flight, and where you went with it, and in my subsequent time working with you on developing the plot and freshening up the character and so forth. Your art talent, Justin, has really exploded. You really have one of the freshest styles that we've seen, and when I say this, I mean this respectively. You know, Leonardo is one of the more dynamic artists that we have because it's such a refined kind of cartoony style. Like he can really sell any sort of emotion, even though it's very cartoony, very much like Oda. Your stuff, however, is just it's got a combination of whimsy and power, and it's a very interesting focus. It reminds me a lot of Capcom. Who are some of your influences that have played a role in what you look for? I know this question already because I know I've asked it to you in our last Q&A, but you know, kind of talk again, and maybe there've been some changes as you've matured as an artist.
Well, my absolute main inspiration is the Sonic the Hedgehog comics, mostly Ben Bates stuff. But I've had like a whole bunch of other things that influence my art. Like the main art style is a mishmash between a lot of Shonen Jump stuff I like and the concept artist from.
Give us some examples, because I mean that's a wide term. Like how many, like what specific Shonen?
Well, One Piece, a little bit of Shaman King, not that much. I didn't get into Shaman King as much as most people did.
Okay.
But I did like the style a little bit, mostly in Ultimo, like the same artist and whatnot. D. Grayman's a big one, but I could barely fit anything in there. Like whatever I do like, I just try to fit it in there. I think Vertical Fish said that at one point too. Anyway, and one of the other Q&As. Anyway, back to the whole drawing thing.
Okay. So
Nintendo and a whole bunch, and the Mega Man concept artists, not the original.
Well, that's what I'm curious. I mean, when I think Capcom, that's exactly what I think of with your work. The Mega Man, Breath of Fire. You know, I see a little bit of that sort of Akimon.
Really? Well, Breath of Fire, I don't really see much of Breath of Fire in it.
Well, okay. Breath of Fire is Breath of Fire. Capcom. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this to you.
I know what Breath of Fire is. I just don't really.
Well, there are lots of character artists who've worked on Breath of Fire, though. So you may be thinking of one variant of it.
No, I'm thinking about numbers 1 through 3.
Well, Akimon and Bingus have produced a lot of the character art for it, and your stuff definitely reminds me a lot of Akimon and Bingus. And the Mega Man stuff that's there, again, Mega Man's gone through some transitions of what they've done, but certainly the stuff that's popularized, if you're a fan of Archie, and therefore a fan of, what's the guy's name, Spaz, I think his name is?
Patrick Spazinade.
Right, you know, so his stuff was is highly influenced by some of Capcom's kind of early 90s, early to mid 90s sort of stuff, and
that was
the period of Akimon and Bingus.
Pat did most of the, like, his art style reflected more along the lines of like the artist of Mega Man Legends. Ben Bates, who also worked on the Mega Man comics, his was more influence of Keiji's original artwork.
Interesting. All right. Interesting. When you talk about Mega Man, for example, in the comic relationship, did you ever read the Mega Man stuff that was produced by Dreamwave back in the early 2000s?
No, I've only read the Archie stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like only volumes 1, 3, and 4.
Okay. So all right. Well, so with that being said, then so let's come back then towards this particular work. You've got this phenomenal stuff that you're doing with Gray Zone, and I hope everyone has a chance to check it out later tonight who's subscribed to Saturday M. By the way, if you're not subscribed to Saturday M, it's just $5 a year. You get 20 issues. You can go to our website, www.saturday-am.com. If you've never heard of us, all I got to do is tell you to go to the website. It will blow your mind when you see that much talent that you've never maybe heard of or seen collectively working together exclusively. And then you go to a subscribe page and look at 20 issues of content, averaging about 100 pages per issue. That's an impressive feat. I mean, I'm extremely proud of what we've accomplished in our very first year of publication. And now that we've launched a new publication with Saturday Plus, and of course we have Acting WebX as well, there's just a lot of really cool content that we are building, building up to become a really powerful entity within the world of webcomics. But in the case of Gray Zone, we look at that. So, for those of you who will check it out tonight, and I highly recommend you do, and for those of you who will check it out in the future, what do you want to tell people about Gray Zone and the sort of story you want to tell with it? I mean, we get the idea of the story, but, Bit, who's the main character, or one of the main characters, he's certainly the main shonen-style character. He's a fun character. I like Bit a great deal. I love the character design of Bit. I like just everything about Bit. What sort of stories do people kind of hope to see in Gray Zone? Kind of action adventure, what's kind of One Piece, where they go on these big sprawling adventures? Will it be probably won't be very Naruto-like because it's not quite the same context for it. But what do you hope to leave people with in terms of excitement level?
I kind of just want it to be just fun adventures with action in it. Something like One Piece meets Sonic the Hedgehog, like high-paced action, but it's still like fun adventures and whatnot.
That sounds cool.
I also if this does get into a series, I do want to have a whole bunch of a really fun cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
That tie in they have their life story that ties into that adds into their character or whatnot.
Well, that would be very cool, because I can say as well, guys, if you have a chance to experience Gray Zone, and you really have no reason not to, like I said, in case you didn't hear me before, it's free. You get early access if you subscribe, so that's one of the great things about subscribing. Plus, you get big type of webcomics from pretty big celebrities in the webcomic space, like White Manga and Apple Black and Wally Wynn and Comatose. But again, you get Gray Zone, and I got to tell you, again, we have high hopes for it. We think it will be a series, which of course depends as much on Justin's desire to continue as much as it continues. It depends on you all checking it out and supporting it. But one of the questions I did want to inquire or state is that please check it out. All the manga that appear in Saturday Plus are pilots. Hence why we call our group Pilot Manga. These are pilots. These are great concepts that are going to be between 30, 40, 50, 60 pages. You have a chance to meet a lot of the main characters, get a sense of the story. If you really like it, you can let us know, and we can take it from there in terms of being able to produce it and turn it into a regular series. We have high hopes for Gray Zone. We think it's going to be fantastic, and you owe it to yourself to see the character designs that Justin is capable of. He's easily one of our top character designers. And so we're very excited about this as an opportunity. And Justin, I can't wait to see more from you.
Thanks.
All right, so we've got some questions here on Facebook, and I think, Leo, I'm not sure if you're back yet. We've got some questions here. All right, so let's jump into a couple of questions that came here. Some will be Justin, some you can answer, and some I think are to me directly. So Alvaro Sanchez Byrne, you know him, Justin.
Yeah, Alvaro.
Alvaro, yeah, I said it right, didn't I? Alvaro?
Yeah, I think it's Alvaro. I just like calling him Alvaro.
Okay. All right. Well, he says, okay, quick question for you. Did you get your inspiration for publishing comics, manga, when you were in Japan? Plus, I'd like to know how was your experience there. Thank you. So yeah, no. So the short answer is no. I did not get the inspiration for publishing comic manga when I was in Japan. In fact, my experience in Japan had very little to do with my interest in manga. So, let's say I just turned 40 this year. And I went to Japan when I was 15. I was an exchange student through my high school. I was selected. There were 7 people selected through my state to represent my hometown in a sister city through Duke University in Japan. And so I went when I was 15, and then I hosted a student. My family, I hosted a student the very next year. For the entire experience of Japan, for me, it was just eye-opening, and I've since had the opportunity to travel around the world and to Asia quite frequently. And I, for me, it was just exciting and I think impactful to step out of the world and see the world. Step out of my little corner of the world and see the world as it is. I had some great experiences in Japan. As an African American, I had a lot of great experiences. I got to see a lot of stuff, and so no, it had zero influence because the manga thing and comics thing, I was into those long before. I mean, at 15, you're pretty mature in terms of the stuff that you're into. There'll be stuff that you'll learn as you get older, but I had always kind of known I wanted to get into comic books thanks to Marvel and DC in America, and then thanks to video games, which I had an early Atari system and then had a Nintendo system. So I had always had an appreciation for content and creativity and had always wanted to do those things. So going to Japan literally did nothing to change that. It didn't make it stronger. It didn't make it worse. It was just I had already had that mentality. But I had a great time in Japan. It's a beautiful, lovely culture, and I'm a big fan of Asia in general. I spent a lot of time in China, and I have a fantastic time every time I go to Asia. So that's all I can say about it. I'm a big fan of it. Have you been to Japan, Justin?
Nope.
You been to Asia at all?
No, I've only been to New Zealand and America.
New Zealand, damn.
That's where I was born.
Oh, you were born in New Zealand?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have a New Zealand accent.
Nope.
You were born there.
Like almost completely Americanized.
Got it. Well, that's cool. One of the places I'd like to go to is New Zealand.
Yeah, Middle Earth.
Absolutely. Yeah, Middle Earth. That's right. Lord of the Rings films are filmed there.
You got to enjoy those fish and chips, too.
Yeah, so, okay. So next comment is from Antonio De La Cruz. He says, I think Attack on Titan movie will have almost the same international success as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Antonio, if I could bet you money, I would bet you money. I think you are so off the base there. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that's like a phenomenon art film. And Attack on Titan, I am almost confident will not be a phenomenon art film, but I could be mistaken. I don't think giant creatures eating people would classify as an art movie, but who knows? There are some fantastic genre filmmakers in Japan, like Takashi Miike, who can produce some really artistic stuff, even though it's violent or kind of bizarre. So perhaps if they go that route, Attack on Titan could be a masterpiece. But I highly doubt it. I think Attack on Titan will end up being a Hollywood spectacle for it to actually be done right. And I think that's what the version that most people around the world will be familiar with. That's my thought. Sinclair says, Frederick, what do you think about the Japanese industry's lack of focus on promoting manga on a global scale? They just had a conference that Jim Lee, the American superstar comic book artist who's an executive now at DC, they just had a conference. I forgot the name of it, but it was in Japan, and Jim Lee attended it, and he was there on behalf of American comics. In fact, it had people from all over the world. There were a lot of French comic creators there who are, France is the second biggest market for manga outside of Japan. America, obviously is 3 times the size of France, and yet we represent the second size market for the manga. So I think Japan tries to embrace it. I know that from again, being a little older, I know that they have some issues going on professionally. They were slow. When you think of Japan, we tend to think of them being technologically advanced. They were very slow to embrace digital distribution, and that has crippled them a bit when it comes to anime and manga because so much of they're not making sort of money that they used to make. Now they've got markets that are open to them that never were before, but at the same time they failed to create an actual relationship and position in those markets, and they kind of gave it over to the scanlators and the translators so that basically there's a lot of people people of a certain generation do not buy or support anime manga the way that they used to, and the Japanese were very slow to take up on that. So they have no one to blame for themselves in terms of their inability to have the sort of outreach for it. I think also that their lack of diversity has hurt them. I think that they, I think you can look at the case of Naruto. I've talked about this before, that Kishimoto-san, it's not an accident that Kishimoto-san added black characters. In fact, we saw those in the end of at the end of Naruto's final chapter with Koji's wife, or whatever his name is, the fat ninja. That he was married to a black lady and had a biracial kid. It's not an accident that happened. Naruto is one of the most popular anime manga in America, and it's largely because it has a huge Latino and African American fan base. And I know for a fact that Viz went to those shows and saw that and was like, whoa, wait a minute. And so did Shueisha and so did Kishimoto. So that's why that occurred. Well, that played a big role in that occurring. I think that it is a bit absurd that more mangaka do not recognize this. I think that we live in a connected world. Japan was connected before a lot of other parts of the world were, and so the idea that you still kind of live in this bubble and you're going to create content for just a handful of people, but you want to take money from everybody else is a bit ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. So I don't think the Japanese have done a good job of branching out and trying to impact manga to the world. Because I think they failed to embrace diversity what they should, and this is not a racist society, by the way, but it's just a stunning lack of foresight. The same way that they gave away the digital market when they had every opportunity in the world to get a jump on digital distribution, and they kept spurning it, saying, "Oh, our creators don't want to do it, yada yada." They missed the boat, and it cost them. That's why the manga had this gigantic slump. We'll see if they get it right. But again, Attack on Titan is one of the success stories in the last couple of years for anime manga. I mean, the industry owes Attack on Titan a great deal of success or support, given what it's done for anime manga everywhere around the world in the last couple of years. And again, when I see the movie, my first thought is, from a business standpoint, is how stupid can you be to make a movie that doesn't have any characters of color in there? And this is your one breakout property for anime manga. If Attack on Titan is successful, that means we might finally get a Naruto movie. It means we might finally get other types of movies, that can actually be built for a global audience. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But I think that Marvel right now is showing everybody how to do it right. And the fact that Marvel superheroes are not known in China, and yet Marvel superhero movies dominate in China, they dominate in Turkey, they dominate in Russia, they dominate in Latin America, I think that kind of tells you something about where the Japanese are. That they, it's like, if you want to be big like that, you have to think big. And if you're not going to think big, then you have no one to blame but yourself when you get taken out. And that's why, when you look at the stuff that we do and the focus I have and the stuff that we're doing, we're trying to do things in a big way. We don't have the money these guys do, but we're trying very desperately to plan to try to speak to as big of an audience as possible. I think, and I just don't understand people who don't do that. Let's see. We got a couple more questions here. I think we got some more questions here. Then we've got there's a comment here from. So Alvaro had a second comment, and then we'll back. He has a second comment here. He's saying something about he's saying that I think you're right about the diversity issue among the Japanese society in general. But it's really weird because when I went there this summer, when I was walking on the street, you see fashion advertisements with only Western women or men. I think we were just seen as cool people just because we were different. Although I myself have experienced some discrimination in Japan. So I've experienced no discrimination in Japan. So I mean, let me be clear. Like it's one of the most beautiful, amazing cultures I've ever experienced. I had literally experienced no issues in Japan. Frankly, I didn't experience any issues in China. I mean, when I went to China, I was much older, and this was after 9/11 and after the Iraq War and so forth. So I was straight up an American. I wasn't an African American. I was an American, and I was treated fantastic everywhere I've been. So I would say, I mean, I've experienced racism in other cultures, but I certainly never experienced it in Japan or China. So what I would just say there is that I don't think when I talk about discrimination, I mean just deciding to not feature other people for reasons that, if I had to guess, it's because they would say to themselves, well, I don't really know a lot of black people, so I don't want to create content that features black people because I don't want to get it wrong. And that's kind of a noble idea to have. At the same time, it's like, it's stupid from a business standpoint because it's like but you have black people buying your stuff, so that's kind of stupid. It's also stupid from the standpoint that we live in a connected world. I mean, I don't know anything about being gay, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't feature gay characters in my works, because every character deserves to have dignity in terms of how they're presented and how they're represented. So I just think that I think in this today's day and age, trying to play the Nana Boo Boo game where you close your eyes and you hide your ears, that's just silly. I would think that everybody's too old for that nowadays, and that goes for comic book creators as well. So that's my whole thing on the diversity thing there. Let's come back to Saturday Plus, and let's now talk to Mr. Diversity himself, Leonardo Massey. Leo, are you there?
For now, yes, I'm here.
All right, you're there now. All right, so let's talk, Leo. You were here last week for our first episode of Saturday Q&A, and I want to thank you for being there last week. Let's now talk for this episode about Islanders. It came out. The first part of your chapter of your pilot manga came out in the 20th and final issue of Saturday AM for 2014. Saturday AM will return in late January. But it was a success. I mean, everyone that I spoke to about it loved the artwork, loved the story. What did you think? Did you like seeing it?
Yeah, I really love the way it looks in the magazine. I mean, you gotta love it. But the only thing I would like to see more is the feedback, because I got the feedback from the people that I know, but I want to see feedback actually from people that they don't know me.
Yeah,
they're not gonna sugarcoat it.
They're not gonna sugarcoat. Well, again, we're working to that point. For those of you who don't know anything about us, we're a small company. We're growing, but we're small. We're having to work and build everything. As I tell the creators, we're literally building everything brick by brick, and that is very difficult. It's far more about stamina and determination than it is about money at this point. So we're really trying to build stuff as best we can. One of the aspects of that is that we're redoing a forum. We're putting a forum into our website, which will be where people who want to experience and talk about Saturday evening characters or series like Apple Black or Grey Zone or Islanders, at the same time who want to talk about Avengers or Attack on Titan. We'll be able to do that in our brand new forum. That's going to come out hopefully in the next week or two. I believe actually it's going to come out literally in another week or two. But with that being said, though, it's very difficult to try to pull all that together. But Leo, that will be the place where that communication can occur. Because right now it's just a series of like spare comments here on a post on Facebook, or maybe like an email that I get that is really about something else, but then I might mention something. So yeah, so I think so the stuff that I saw for Islanders was fantastic. Justin, what did you think of Islanders? Hold nothing back for Leo.
Okay, I'm gonna be flat out honest. I really liked Islanders.
Oh, damn it!
Part 1. Although, I just like it.
You got to really say, but something. What was the but?
I mean, there was a few like sample thingies that Leo sent me, and I gave him a few critiques, but then I guess he didn't have the time to fix it.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, it's just like, oh my god, I really liked it.
So yeah, I must say, so I've worked with all the creators who came to Pilot Manga to get them to refine, and some of the creators who are still waiting to get their stuff at a point where we can actually run it inside of Saturday AM or Saturday Plus, and I gotta say, I mean, we have 276 members. We have about 7 members who've gone through Pilot Manga, and just fantastic performances from the 7 who've come through it. Philippa and Justin and David Artbook Johnson, Frederick Ward, Leonardo. And a couple people who we haven't finished things with them yet in terms of getting it where it needs to be. But just really fantastic stuff. And Islanders and Grey Zone are really some of my 2 favorite mangas. Big fan also of DD Dragoon. So if we can, Leo, real quickly because I'm going to run through and talk a little bit about each series, because again, David and Frederick could not be here tonight, and then we're going to wrap it up. So tell people a little bit about Islanders, what it's about, and what they can expect to see in the next couple of issues of Saturday Plus.
Okay, basically Islanders is telling the story of these cruel, crazy people that they see themselves helping a kid from another planet to find his brothers and sisters. and everything starts to twist and to change, and you can see a lot of cultures mixed up and a lot of fun things. It's a comedy, but I plan on doing a lot of action too, and it's gonna be really, really crazy. A next installment, I should be bringing more quality to the table because I'm working on that. That's one of the things I noticed from the first installment, that the quality was not the best because it was my first 10 pages, but ever done in my life, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty much bringing my best to the table. I'm working in comics. It's not an easy thing. When you're trying to get the quality and the deadlines. So I'm trying to work really hard on that. And I really like that the people enjoy the story, because the artwork is gonna get better. I can promise you that. But to keep people interested in the story, and actually the comedy of it, because it's really hard to make comedy.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I really I try to base my comedy on silly things that people deal with every day, that people overlook all the time.
Yep.
And I'm trying to put all that spice comedy in there so people can, they might feel identified. They might feel, hey, look at this. I talk about this every day, and it's in a comic. It's awesome. So that's my point there. And at the same time, work in a story that people can actually follow.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next installments, I'm gonna be explaining more about Turbino, the old man, the kid, so you can understand why everything's happened and why they're acting the way they're acting right now. So basically, that's what you guys are gonna expect there. Other quality is gonna come up. I can promise you that eventually.
Well, I think there's definite quality there. I think everybody who watches, who reads this, will see the quality. It is there for anybody to see. So let's talk real quickly. Let me just say real quickly kind of where we are with the stuff that we have here. So Saturday Plus, as I said before, it's a sister publication of Saturday AM. Saturday AM, our digital manga magazine anthology. You could think of it kind of like Weekly Shonen Jump. It features several exclusive series, including Apple Black from White Manga, Saigami from Andrea Boros, Bully Eater from Raymond Brown, Comatose from Wally Wynn, and several other titles that will appear there. And so it's a big book. It's a fantastic book. So we've got some fantastic artwork from it. Many of these guys have been producing webcomics for years, and so this is a really high quality publication. And the 20th issue, which is our last issue of the year, came out. Featured over 100 pages, free music downloads. I mean, it was a really stellar package, and you can still get that today if you subscribe. Just $5, you get 20 issues for a year. Best deal in comics. Aside from that, we do African WebX, which is some also amazing comics, lots of comics. Each one of our top series feature well over 10, 15 chapters. Spoon by David Yoon, Storybook by Andrew Sterling, Wanted, Dead or Dead by the very lovely Marielle Villarreal, and one of our original titles having come back is Rough House by Jordan Cook, who was on last week's Saturday Q&A. These are free, weekly updated comics. You can't go wrong with them, and all of them feature really copious amounts of chapters that are available right now for free. Saturday Plus fits into this realm in the sense that it is content from brand new creators. So where all these other creators that are established and are either superstars, like something like Saturday AM in the world of webcomics, that is, or beloved in the world of webcomics like the After West guys, the Saturday Plus guys are completely new. They're people who really have not stepped out in the realm of webcomics previously, and so we're very excited because what they're producing is some really unique ideas that deserve to be seen and experienced. So with that, you have Justin, who is producing Gray Zone. It's a work that I truly believe, if you guys give it a chance, is going to be one of the really big sensations in the world of webcomics, because it is graphically, it is just stunning, and his growth as a creator is something that I, in my experience in my lifetime, I've seen is very strong. I mean, every creator grows. You see it, and you've been doing this as long as I have. But in the case of Justin, his growth from when we first met him to today is nothing short of phenomenal. His pages that came in, we saw them really knocked everyone's jaw off. amongst the Saturday M creators, the Saturday M elite guys who started the company with me. So we have really high hopes for what Justin's doing with Gray Zone. And having worked with Justin on the story, I think there's really a lot of room for the story to take off in some really fun directions. I truly, truly hope you guys give it a try. Likewise, you got Islanders by Leonardo Massa. You cannot go wrong taking something like One Piece, a comedic action-adventure comic story, and pairing that with some really subtle socio-political conversations that only Leo can bring because of his background having grown up in a country like Cuba. This is a really imaginative book. This is truly imaginative book. I'm doing a lot more work on this than I do on any of the other series, but chiefly because I have become to believe in Leo so much that I really believe that Islanders can be one of the next, and I mean this completely, one of the next great webcomics people talk about, like Rona Project and like Apple Black. We're sitting on gold with this guy, and we hope that you guys will embrace it. Leo's a fast worker as well, so our Saturday Tanks program just kicked off with Apple Black. We have every reason to believe that we should have an Islanders book at some point. But support it, check it out, read it. I can say in the case of everything in Saturday Plus, you will not be disappointed. Our other two creators, David Artbook Johnson, who could not join us today. He's not in the first issue of Saturday Plus, but he will be in the second issue. His work is called DD Dragoon, and it is, if you are a fan of really fun, simple, open stories like a Disney movie or like Bone, the famous comic by Jeff Smith, you absolutely want yourself to check out DD Dragoon. David is growing as an artist, and you can see it. And so for someone like me, I look at David and I see a lot of nostalgia for old independent comics in the 1980s, where you had creators like the Eastman Laird guys who created Teenage Turtles, who really were coming into their own as creators, and they were making a lot of mistakes along the way, but the heart of what they were doing was so strong, it was so powerfully evident that you just had to be a part of what they were doing. And I think in the case of David with DD Dragoon, he's got a fantastic lead character in Dion, a young black kid who's trying to save his orphanage, and it's in a fantasy world, so it's just there's so many just anachronisms that automatically exist because of the way he's chosen to tell the story, that it's just going to be a really fun ride, and it's going to be a really sweet ride as well. I mean, I can't help but look at DD Dragoon until I look at it and get a sense of, again, something that's very positive. So I hope you guys will check that out. And then last but not least is Frederick Ward, Comic Man. This is a slam bam book. This is superheroes. There's an anime manga that's out right now called World Trigger out of Weekly Shonen Jump. You guys may have seen it, and it's kind of basically, I tell everybody every time I look at it, I can't help but think this is literally Green Lantern done manga style. And if that's Green Lantern done manga style, then Comet Man is Firestorm done manga style. This is a really awesome concept where there's an intergalactic police force that one of the members is a sentient rock or comet, and he can merge with a human or whoever he merges with, another alien. When he goes to a planet, he merges with that individual, he creates a bond. In this case, he comes to Earth, creates a bond with this kind of ditzy young girl named Christine, and bam, she becomes Comet Man, not Comet Woman or Comet Girl, but Comet Man. There are so many cool ideas here, and Frederick reminds me a lot of many of the creators of Saturday AM in the sense that he's so 1,000% committed to the story he wants to tell. He's got it figured out in his head, so that really all I have to do is provide some really light guidance for him. Frederick is truly focused on the story he wants to tell, and he's really ready to go with it. So, this is going to be a really fun ride. If you're a fan of superheroes, you're a fan of manga, definitely check this out. And then we got some other titles coming from some creators who are in Pilot Manga. So, a couple of notes. If you want to be part of Pilot Manga, if you think you've got the next big manga idea, you got two choices. The web is full of places you can go and tell your story. Full of places you can go and tell your story. For free. You just go to their website, you upload it, and they will make they'll make whatever money they're going to make selling advertising on pages that you happen to be part of. We operate totally differently. I tell people all the time that the reason why what we do and why we call ourselves the hottest manga webcomic group on the internet is really simple, because you don't survive doing the stuff that we do. You're not doing it for the money. You're not doing it for the prestige, even though you're going to get a lot of passion generated, because we've generated a lot of passion from people. But you're doing it because this is literally what it's like to create something significant. You're held to deadlines. You're pushed to create better content. You're challenged on your ideas because you've never actually created something before, so you're going to be challenged. When you go to these other websites, they're not going to challenge you. They're not going to say anything to you about how good your art looks. They're just going to put your stuff up. They're going to sell an ad to Pepsi, and they're going to make money off of you whether you want them to or not. With us, we're partnering with you, and we're investing in you to become the superstar you want to become, which means that we're going to challenge you every step of the way. It's not for everybody, and therefore the people who represent the creators of Saturday AM and WebX, they're heroes because they literally can do it all, and they do it all. They design the websites, they build content, they produce ads, they do social media, they participate in these sort of Saturday AM Q&As, and they still get their content done on time. We've lost many creators, not many, let me phrase that. Hell, we haven't lost many. We've lost less than 1% of creators who've been associated with Saturday AM and WebX because they couldn't hack it in the end of the day. They couldn't deal with some of the pressure that we put forth. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But this is what it's really like, though. You're not gonna walk into Marvel or DC and they'll throw pedals at your feet and go, man, you're a really great artist. Come join us. It's not gonna work that way. You're gonna get put through the grinder, and if you're not good enough for them, they're gonna drop you before you think of dropping them. With Saturday AM, Saturday Plus, Afternoon WebX, we want the best creators. We want people who are committed, who are focused, who have an eye for the long term, and who take direction well, and who have a passion for what they're trying to do. And of course, who are talented. And I'm happy to say that even though we've got a small group, we've got one of the best groups out there. So if you want to be part of this jungle that we're a part of, this revolution that we've started, then we're going to have the Pilot Manga group. You can go find the Pilot Manga group on Facebook, but what I would recommend you do is wait until mid-December when we have the brand new forums up and running fully on our website, www.saturday-am.com/pilot, Pilot-manga, and you'll be able to go there, register, join, and start participating in test flights or our Pilot Manga versus art competitions, which will be kicking off as well. If you want to read some of our content, then please support our creators. We've got merchandise that will be coming soon, so you can buy T-shirts. We've got some other really cool things we're working on from that. Likewise, we have tanks, which are collected print and or digital editions of individual series. So if Gray Zone becomes a series and you want to get some of that sweet Justin A. artwork over the span of 150 or 200 issues and read a complete story arc, well, then you can buy his book. And you know when you're buying his book, you're supporting Justin 100%. And it's going to look like a book. It's not going to look like, something that you kind of cobbled together and it's got a weird logo there and so forth. It's going to have professional grade logos, professional grade trade dresses. It's going to have ISBN numbers on it, meaning that it can actually be sold in bookstores. We take what we do very, very seriously. And so that's the sort of power that we're trying to produce, and that's the sort of opportunities you have to support some of these creators who are really trying to make careers in this long term. So if you want to be a part of Saturday AM, please support us. And I can tell you now that next year we're going to be launching, at the end of this year, we're going to put forth some information about our future subscription services and so forth. They're going to change. But as of right now, just $5 gets you 20 issues a year. So you pay $5. You start off with issue 20, which is our last issue. Over 100 pages, includes free music downloads from artists that you may have never heard of, and includes some of the hottest content, including the final chapter of the first story arc of Apple Black by White Manga. You can't beat it. It also includes the first part of Islanders by Leonardo Masson. You also, by subscribing, you'll get access to Saturday Plus first, which will be, for our subscribers, you'll be getting access to Saturday Plus tonight. And there'll be some other really cool stuff that you'll get next year that we'll be announcing soon. That'll be exclusive. The other thing I want to announce before we sign off is that we will have again, for subscribers only, a special 0 issue of Saturday AM. It'll come out right around Christmas time. So if you've got a tablet, if you get a brand new tablet, if you get a brand new desktop computer or laptop, you can check out a brand new, completely unsolicited, completely unmarketed 0 issue of Saturday AM that will feature comics from a stable of our creators between Afternoon WebX, Pilot Manga, or Saturday Plus, that is, and Saturday AM. So hope you guys will check that out. It should be very exciting. And we'll be announcing a special announcement regarding our next Saturday tank after Apple Black, which comes out December 15th. We'll announce the next Saturday tank, which we've not talked about yet. We'll announce the next one of that in the next coming weeks. So before we sign off, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them now. And I'll also turn it over to Justin and Leonardo if you guys have any questions, because you guys certainly are able to ask me questions as well. If you guys have any questions you want to ask, you may feel free to do so. Questions, feel free to post them on the Facebook fan page, or you can post them in the inside of the Q&A app function within Google Chrome or Google Browser, and we'll go from there. So, Leo, do you have any questions for anybody, or anything you want to before we turn off?
Yeah, I'm good. I just wanted to say that Justin is awesome, man.
That Justin is awesome?
Yeah, hey, this kid is like 13 years old, and he's so cool.
Justin is. Leonardo's joking, everybody, but Justin is a young man. We discovered him when he was 7, and he is now approximately 11. And so Justin is he's a young man. He's a young whippersnapper. But that's great. I'm glad to see the two of you have discovered one another. Justin, any comments you have?
Yeah, I've got one. Leo, why is Turbino so mean in part 1 of Islanders?
Yeah, part 2, man.
Good question. Good question.
Yeah, he hasn't read part 2, evidently.
Yeah, wait and see, son. Wait and see.
He just seems so mean in part 1. I read part 2, but he just seems so mean.
Yeah, man, I know. He's kind of cranky though, but he gets better, hopefully.
Let's say Coco's always nice. Coco's becoming my favorite character, frankly. Coco and the old man are my two favorite characters.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the old man and Coco.
Yep, definitely not. Okay, well, I think that's going to be it then, guys. I really want to thank you guys for taking time out of your schedules to be a part of this. I want to thank everybody for viewing it. We had some good viewership tonight, and of course, we always have really good viewership amongst people who want to check out the videos at a later time. You can do so on our YouTube channel. It's listed under My Footprint, and you should find there approximately, I think we've got, at this point, not quite 50 videos, but we're doing some fantastic traffic on there. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. As we are also getting close to 1,000 likes on Facebook. By the way, if you, I know, 2 things I forgot to say. If we get 1,000 subscribers on Facebook, whoever the 1,000th person is on Facebook is a subscriber, who's a fan on Facebook, and whoever knows him will get a free subscription for 2015. So definitely check that out. The 1,000th person, though, will also get a free copy of Apple Black Volume 1. Likewise, I talked about getting a free copy signed by White Manga himself of Apple Black Volume 1. And how can you make that happen? Well, you can make it happen really simply. Get issue 20. Get issue 20. Inside of issue 20 is a running gag. It exists in several chapters of the work that's inside of Saturday AM. There is a running gag that some creators didn't even know was in there. There is a running gag that if you can find it and tell us what that running gag is, you will get a free, and it'll be random. Of course, we may get several people who can tell us what that is. So what we'll do is we'll get a bunch of them, and then we'll do a random drawing, and we'll select the winner. This will be done on December 15th, meaning that as of today, you have 16 days, over 2 weeks, to get issue 20. You can purchase it either individually for $1.99 or you can subscribe for $5. Lock in the rate so you can enjoy 20 issues of Saturday AM next year, plus issues of Saturday Plus ahead of time. Get your $5 in today. Pick those things up. You immediately get issue 20. Scour the issue. Read it so you can have a good time. Listen to the music so you can jam and shake your booty. But then look for that running thing that you can find in there. There's a running gag. I won't say anything more about it. There's a running gag that appears in not all, but most of the chapters in there. If you can find it, tell us what it is. And by the way, if you tell us what it is, you must tell us not publicly. You cannot state it publicly. So state it at saturday-am.com. Info at saturday-am.com. We will post something about this on our blog as well as our website in the near future. But look for it, find it, post about it. You will get a free signed copy of Apple Black Volume 1 by White Manga himself, the creator of Apple Black. And we're really excited about the Saturday Tank line. We're really excited about our first print book. And we hope you guys will continue to support and our creators and support us as an entity. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedules. We went on a little bit longer, but we had some great conversations. So that's it. Again, my name is Frederick Jones. For Leonardo Massip, creator of Islanders, and for Justin A., creator of Gray Zone, I want to say thank you guys for showing up. We will be available next week on the brand new Saturday Q&A. It should be with Joey Ellis, the creator of Leaky Timbers, which is a fantastic not a webcomic, but a digital comic that was produced via Kickstarter by a very, very fantastic creator. If you've not heard of Leaky Timbers, I highly suggest you check it out. But Joey Ellis, he's a fascinating guy. Trust me, you will want to see this Q&A because it's gonna be with video, and he's gonna have some very cool stuff that he'll be doing with it. So check it out next week. Joey Ellis, Leaky Timbers Q&A. Thank you, everybody. That's it.